Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel uh, in another how-to tips and tricks. So I just did a basic YouTube search for server settings in Scum, and I have the only that I know of, just off of one search, typed in Scum server settings, and I have the only 0.95 server settings menu out there. That was way back in the beginning of 0.95, and I have had people asking me questions as far as single player. So I have never done a single player server settings because I typically don't play single player. So that's what you're seeing in front of you. This is a made up character for how to's and tips and tricks. As you can see, I'm going to click on the single play load. I have one character right there. That is this character. And we're going to jump into the game, show you how to get to those server settings, and go through those server settings. And hopefully, this will help you set up your single server player so that you can have the most fun, that make it as hard as you want or as easy as you want for yourself. So let's jump in and start going through the settings. Some of them will be self-explanatory. I'll just gaze over those. A couple of them, I'll be honest, I don't even understand them. And then we'll move on into customizations and go from there. All right, so first thing you want to do when you get into the game after you parachute in or whatever, okay, or in your current game, is you want to hit your escape key. Your escape key will bring you to this menu, and right here under serving settings, okay, options, that's what gives you your mouse, video, graphics. Okay, what you want is server settings. And then you have all these tabs up here. All right. Now, real quick, anything that has an asterisk will require a server restart. Yes, you are a server and on your own. In order to reset that, you must completely close your game down, go back to the desktop, and then re-enter your game. Once you do that, you have officially reset your server. So if you want to do a partial wipe or a gold wipe or anything else that requires a server setting reset, that is how you do it. Now, again, some of these you can make as hard on you as you want or as easy. I'm a first and third person player. If you guys have watched my channel, you have seen me go both ways. In the game, first person, third person, keep it clean, folks. All right. Once you turn this on, for an example, you want to turn off first person. Only third person game, right? Boom, it's there. On, you turn that one on, that one goes off. Now, to apply that, you come back into your game. Okay, now if you hit your TIA key or your enter key, I have remapped mine. If you hit it again, I don't know if you can hear me hitting my keyboard. I cannot come out of first person. All right, so you have to enact the action in order for it to do what it needs to do. So your crosshairs, your map screens, all that stuff. All right, your fame multiplier. If you want to gain fame quicker, you can make this ×2, ×3, whatever you want to. You want to take away, you know, if you happen to get killed or whatever, you can make all these zeros. Logging suicides don't really matter unless you really want to. All right, let's move into the world. The bunkers. These are your abandoned bunkers. All right. Default is -1. The higher the number goes, the more noise that you can technically make without activating a razor. On my multiplayer server, these are set at 14. So you still activate, but it takes a little bit more moving around. So you can be somewhat stealthy, but So you can change all these to whatever you want to change them to. Some of these are still per player, per player extra. Those are going to be for your, I don't know why they're in here. They shouldn't be in here. These are for multiplayer settings. For extra players, if you're in single player, there's not going to be any extra there's not going to be any extra players. So some of these settings they just didn't take out for whatever reason. Move on to, you can click up here at the top, bunkers, NPCs. All right, your max character allowance, that is the number of zombies that will be in the world, including yourself. So with the base setting of 500, excuse me, that allows 499 zombies to be in the game. Okay. Again, extra player, this does not matter to you. You can increase the base multiplier, so you could encounter extra zombies per spawn. If you want, you can take that up times 2, times 3, times 4. All right. Per player doesn't really matter. The cap multiplayer doesn't really matter. Some of this doesn't really matter because, again, you're in single player. And you can read through here and change what you would like. You can change the respawn time multiplier where they respawn quicker. And this is all my understanding of playing with the settings. In another video that I had put out with understanding the horde system, single and multiplayer. I'll link that at the end of this one to watch that one. I get into this a little more in depth, and I actually have somebody in multiplayer with me, and we're changing all these settings to see the difference. Excuse me, to see all the difference in how many zombies come out every time you change a multiplier. I go in way more in depth in that one than I will in this particular video. I'm just hitting the highlights. The horde, so the horde group right here, that is where you would want to change that if you want more zombies per horde. So instead of having your base at 3 or 4 zombies on a horde, if you times that times 2, you could have 6 to 8, and whatever your set your multiplier at there. Your cooldown. All right, so we come down into here. Low priority characters. This is mainly a multiplayer thing. When you have several people playing on at the same time, if you change your field of view, the zombies that you just killed will despawn faster. It will optimize the game. With this on, it comes down to, do you want to go back and loot those, get their bones, get their head, their teeth, their ears, maybe their skins for a quiver, something like that. The clamp character, again, there's some things I have no idea what they do, and that is one of them. I'm not even going to lie to you, pretend that I know. I'm not going to make something up. Honest reviews here, guys. Honest information. The best of my abilities, what I'm giving you. Global zone cooldown multiplier. I assume that is for the respawn factor, since we're in NPCs. If you want to take a little bit longer for them to respawn, you can up this. That is my understanding of that. Threat zones, again, that is multiplayer. From what I'm understanding, the more people that are in there, it messes with the radii of the threat zones. Max drones, single player, it doesn't really matter. That's more of a multiplayer, hey, that's where players are at type of thing. This one here kind of confuses people. So these two right here, the sentry spawning, that is your mechs. If you don't want mechs, you can turn those off. If you want the mechs, but you don't want them to hurt you, that is something else that we'll get into over here in the custom zones. But you can leave them on, and it gives you what that does is it gives you if you turn them on but turn the damage off, and you're new to the game, or you've just always been, I'm not going to the airfield because there's mechs there. It gives you a chance to learn how to maneuver around without dying. So if they shoot you, it's no big deal unless you're in a car or an airplane and they can step on you. Don't ask me how I know. Oh, I'm sorry. I have not coughed all morning, and now all of a sudden, here I am. So, to disable the sentry spawning, off is on is off. If that makes... It's the opposite. So if you want them off, you need to turn them on. You need to disable that. You want them to be on. On is off is on. For the suicide puppet spawning, on means on, off means off. Okay? And you can get rid of the suicide puppets. On my server, I do not have them on. When they updated all this, they were everywhere. They were in every Quonset hut at the airfield. You didn't even have to get close to them, and they would start exploding and alerting everything, and the hordes were outrageous. I have not messed with it since they've done the updates on those. And that's something that I'll have to do. So the next one, puppets can open doors. I like them to be on. They give you a 3-hit warning, which means they will bang on the door 3 times before they open the door. So if you can get ready, or you can jump out a window in the back or run out the back door. Puppets can vault through windows. You can turn that off or on. I don't like the animation of them coming through the windows, so I turn that off. That is pure choice. Again, all these settings are how hard do you want to make it or how easy do you want to make it. So make sure you always check when you go through these sections up here that you don't have a subcategory up here. And if you do, you can still click through. The weather. The start time of the day, you can set that to whatever you want. Your sunrise and sunset, that gives you how much time of daylight you're going to have. Okay, I like to play in the daylight. Your abandoned bunkers are set from 10 p.m. to I think 6 a.m. Maybe it's 8 or 4 a.m. So the daylight does not affect that. It's straight by game time. Your nighttime darkness, the lower the number, the brighter your nighttime will be. If you want it super dark at nighttime, crank it up to 1. If you want it to be, it comes in right here at default. All right. I like a little bit more light, especially when I record videos. You guys can see a little bit better when I'm recording. Your time of day speed. All right. It's set at 3.84. That number is referenced later as your metabolism speed as well. So if you want to speed up your time of day, you need to make sure that you match that with your metabolism, or if you want to slow it down. All right. And we'll go over that when we get there. Your map. If you want to shrink your map, you can do that. Right now, this is all factory. It's 15.24 kilometers by 15.24 kilometers. That is the size of Scum Island. All right. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit and you say, hey, I don't want to be able to lock any garages up, you can turn that off, and you cannot put a lock on any garage door. Up here at the top where your locked loot containers, that is your drop loads. All right, your airdrops. That is what's, if you turn that off, you won't get any. All right. Cargo drops. These are all in, what are these? These are in minutes. So if you want more airdrops, lower your minimum, lower your maximum. You can control how long it takes for the notification of, up in your top right-hand corner, you'll see it'll say airdrop in, cargo drop A0 or whatever sector it's in. That's how long it'll take before it starts dropping. This is your fall duration. So if you want to speed that up, you can drop this. That's that there's in seconds. So it'll take 60 seconds. You can take that down to 1 second. So as soon as it starts dropping, it's on the ground. All right. This is your self-destruct time. If you want a little more time, say your lockpicking skills are not the best, you need some more time, you can increase this. It's in seconds now. All right. So you need to watch how much time you're giving yourself. And 1200 seconds is 20 minutes. All right. So you can have a max of, I think it's an hour to have it self-destruct. However, I've only seen two drops at a time with mine lowered on my multiplayer server. Uh, Only two come down at a time, and another one doesn't drop until one explodes. So if you want more time, then that's fine, but you're not going to get as many drops either. All right. So you can play around with those times and get them to your duration on your skill level. Hunting, 20 all the way up to 64. That's how many hunts you can have on the map to be initiated. All right. The hunt failure is how much time do you have before you can find the next clue. 150 seconds is 2.5 minutes. You can increase that if you like. As your skill gets better at finding the clues, with your awareness being up, you can lower that back down. Your hunt failure distance. All right, this is in meters. All right, right now it's 300 meters. If you get further than that away from it, it will deactivate, or you can take it all the way up to 2,200 meters. So basically saying that no matter how far away you get, it's never going to fail. All right. And we go back to bunker. So in the respawn, you can limit yourself or make it as easy as you want. Again, do you want to be allowed to sector respawn? Yes or no? Can you shelter respawn? Yes or no? You can set your prices. This is 250 scum bucks. This is 1,000, and that is 1 gold. You can change these to zeros if you like, so that it doesn't matter. If you die, you can respawn for free, or you can change them higher if you want. You just highlight it. You can change that to 1,000 scum bucks if you want, and challenge yourself to, hey, if I die, I'm just messing myself up. If you want to change it to golds, you have to put the G behind it, and because that is 1 gold to shelter respawn. All right. Your sector respawns, your initial times. This is just your delay and what it will let you when you do die and you see that little gray bar go around the rectangles. That's what that's controlling. So if you just want it to be spontaneous, change all these figures right here to 0. Lower all your cooldown multipliers to 0, and if you die, you can respawn random, sector, or shelter anytime. Doesn't matter. Your suicides cooldown, it's if you're killing yourself a lot, then you might want to lower those down. If you're not committing suicide to get a better spawn or whatever, then I wouldn't worry about it. Permadeath threshold. That's negative 2,500 scum bucks. Permadeath is, if you go up here to the top where we were at our random or our price at 250, you can die to 8 times and respawn randomly for 250 bucks. It will put you in the hole 250 scum bucks at a time until you reach that 2,500. Once you die that final time, that 8th time, you will permadeath. That means that character is gone. You must create a new character. However, you can also change that to 0 if you would like. That means you die once, you're over. You can also change this to negative 20,000. Okay? Which means you could die a lot of times. But if you change this to 0 up here, then this permadeath number means nothing because it's all free. It's all free to respawn. Okay. Vehicles. This section here is pretty self-explanatory. Your fuel drain, you can increase the fuel drain if you want to have a gas guzzler. You can take it to 0, you fill it up, and it will basically never use fuel. Okay. Same thing with your battery. Uh, you don't want your battery to drain. Leave your lights on if you're bad at that. Battery drain from devices. That would be your flashlights, cell phone batteries, 9-volt batteries, that type thing. You can make it to where they never drain. Your inactivity, if you're not using them. Your alternator, you find a car, you say, hey, this car, your driving skills not very good, but you can get it started. That means if you want to charge the alternator, you have to drive it around a lot, which also charges the battery. So if you want to do it quickly, raise it all the way up to 10. Same thing with your dyno multipliers. You can raise that up. Your batteries will charge faster. So you can change those. This is where I've had some questions about airplanes and vehicles. Airplanes only spawn in 2 places, the B2 airfield and the D4 airfield. 2 planes, maybe 3, that's it. Depending on how many spawn at the B2 airfield, you might get 2 of them to spawn in different hangars. So I'm going to explain using the Lakita, and it's for all of these, so I don't have to explain each one over and over and over. All right, your Lakita max amount, the functional amount, and the minimum purchased amount. It's the same as all these. All right, wheelbarrows, bicycles, they're all the same. If you want a bunch of cars available to you, set that to 128 or 65. Okay, you can set it higher. Using the default numbers, I will explain what this means. This means that the Lakita, there will be 50 of them on the map at any one time. Now, where they're at, that's up to you to find. The next line, the functional amount. This does not mean that they will have 4 tires, gas, a battery, all the doors, all the seats. You jump in and go. What this means is that you can find parts to fix 20 of them and use them as operational. The other 25, yes, I know 50 minus 20 is 30. We'll get to that last line in a minute. That means the other 25 will be broke down, non-usable, no engines, okay? The purchased amount plays into the max amount. So if you don't plan on buying any from the trader, take that to 0. You now have 20 functional on the map itself. As it stands, there will only be 15 because those amount comes into your functional amount. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's say I want a bunch of Ragers. All right, I want to be able to find a Rager wherever I go. I'm going to raise this up. I'm going to raise the functional amount up, and I'm not going to buy them. I want to find them, so I'm going to take that there. Now there's going to be a bunch of Ragers on my map. Okay, not all of them are going to be functional. They should be to a point, but Scum does Scum things. We all know that. All right, you can set these up. You want to make it harder on yourself? There's only going to be 6 available on the map. Now you have 15 by 15 kilometers to find them. All right, it's wherever you want to find them, however many you want, that's what's going to be there. If you want to have some that are broke, get your hopes up and, oh man, it's not working, put 50 on the map and make only 5 of them working. That way it's going to be harder for you to find the working ones. Okay, moving on. It's always going to remind you All right, so that should be the next section there. Yep. All right, so maximum time of inactivity. So if you don't interact with your vehicle for 2,400 hours, all right, 2,400 hours is basically 40 days, then you're good. Now, what's nice about that is you can change that to 2,400 and then never have to worry about it. All right, that's like 99 days or something. Um, that way, if you want to spend time just wandering the map on foot, you don't have to worry about your vehicle. Inactivity can be as much as walking up and opening the door or getting in and getting back out. You interacted with it and it's not going to move. And then we go back to there. Go up to damage. All right. This is another one of those. You can, if you take this to 0, the century, that still means they're gonna hurt you, just not as much. Okay, this is just how much they hurt you, not turning them off. Same thing with the zombie multiplier. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can take that up. My server, they're set at 2.5 times. You can take that all the way up to 10 times. Basically, you get hit once and you're hurting really bad. All right. You got to have some challenges. Make it as easy or as hard as you want. Your item decay. You don't want anything to decay, so you can set that to 0. You want it to go faster. Your food decay. All right. This is a kind of a controversial situation on some servers where if I go out and I hunt a wolf or I get a can of raviolis and it's at 90%, say you go to the trader and you buy some food. If you have your decay multiplier, which I believe default is 1, it will degrade over time. So as your days go, just like normal food would, right? Except for Twinkies, they're pretty much nuclear deficient, right? So you go out, you hunt something, you get the meat. Over time, that meat will decay. If you set that multiplier to 0, your food will not decay. You can save your food. You're not going to always be looking for ingredients. You're not always going to be looking for things to survive on. You can play the game a little more unrealistic in that aspect so that your food never goes to waste. All right. Base building, 1,000 elements. Everything that you put in your base is a element. One foundation is an element. An upgrade is an element. An upgrade is an element. A zombie head on a stick is an element. A bench is an element. Everything is an element. You can raise this up if you like. You can take it up to one below 10,999 or 9,999 if you like. And you can build the biggest base in the world. All right. The number of, if you want to play it realistically as the game is intended, you can go to the trader and you can buy base expansion packs, level 1 and level 2, which will allow you to expand this number through game mechanics. Okay. Multiple flags per player, on or off. If you want a flag in Zulu 3 as a little outpost, your main base is in B3 and you have an outpost in D1. That's where you get that. Okay, you have to have this on in order to place multiple flags as a player. Otherwise, you can only place one. All right. Flag placement on base building elements. If you turn that on, you can put a foundation down. You may have to put a flag down, build the flag, build your foundation, and then put your flag on your foundation. All right. That allows you to, in multiplayer, get it off the ground so people can't overtake your flag. Okay. Single player, it doesn't really matter where you put it because, again, you're by yourself. Nobody's ever going to take it. Resources. This is another kind of a weird one. The first three here are your base building water wells. The next three are your world, your in-game, the blue fountains you find, the blue water pumps you find, things like that. If you want those to always be stocked with water, raise your multipliers up so that they replenish faster. Okay. Same thing with your base building ones. If you want those wells that you build out of the craft menu to have water and replenish faster, that's where you're gonna move. You're gonna move these up right here. These the first three. If you hover over it and hold it, it'll tell you BB wells, base building wells. The next three, world wells. All right. The next couple down here are your gasoline. The first one is your price. If you want to pay more at the pump, you know, you want to live in California and pay $8 a gallon, crank it up. Um, you know, you want to live in uh, a state that, you know, you can control how much you pay for fuel there. All right. These next two, uh, these next couple down here are all your pumps going to be full, or are you going to take a chance and go rolling up to a a gas station or a petrol station, depending on if you're over the pond over there, and you want a chance of there not being fuel there or petrol there, or do you want to always have fuel when you pull up? Okay, that's where you'll change those. Same thing with your propane. You want to take your chances. Maybe there's propane in the tanks. Maybe there's propane accessories. All right, who knows? We'll click over here. This is your item spawning. So if you want to have basic game vanilla loot, that is your one-time multiplier. If you want to have 2 times loot, all right, you can take that all the way up to 10 times loot. That makes the game real easy. All right. You can increase that as much as you want. I'm not real sure what these are here. Never had an issue with those. I do believe I have mine set still on default because there's a lot of things in the settings that Scum has not explained. All right. I know I'm going quick through this. If you need more explanation, rewind, watch it again. I want to make sure I save enough time for custom zones over here because that's where we're going to spend some time. Because that seems to be another one. All right. If you're a big farmer in the game and you want to make sure that you always have a good harvest, crank this up to 10. Everything will grow and it'll always be 100%. Every time you go to get it, as long as you follow that doesn't mean you come by 6 times a day and there's something there, but in the general growing process of the game, like your apple trees can reproduce like 3 times, they will always be something there if you're there when they're supposed to be there. Okay, and they don't rot. This is one of those sections here that might be a little controversial for some people. Let me grab a sip of coffee real quick here. All right. This can make your game really easy or really hard. And it depends on, again, how you want to do it. These are the skill multipliers. Every skill that is in the game is on this screen. All right. So you can set your character up with a high strength, a high intelligence, low constitution, and dexterity, and increase the skill multipliers for those lower ones and get them back faster. All right. So let's just say that if you shoot a puppet with an arrow, you get 1 point or 10 experience points. Okay. If you take this up to 10, that means that if one kill gives you 10 experience points, now 1 kill will give you 100 experience points. All right, which means you can advance your archery skill 10 times faster. All right, you want it to be a little harder, move it down a little bit. All right, again, you can make this as easy or as hard as you want on yourself. Really, we're not going to do that. Oh, whatever. Okay, that's gonna kill me. Same thing all the way down. Medical skill is one of the hardest things to get. You can help yourself out, move it up to 10. So every time you got to heal yourself, you're getting your medical skills faster. All right. Um, Running skill, you can jump those up. Sniping skills, death skills. So everything is in here. You want to get better at lock picking. What that does is that doesn't make you better. It gives you more time to lockpick things. So the higher your thievery skill is, the higher or the more time. You'll get an extra second here, an extra second every time you go up to pick those locks, okay? And then we have here. So this is what I was talking about with your body simulation speed, your metabolism speed. That is directly set with the time of day speed. So if you want to move your time of day up and you want your time of day to move faster so that you can go through more days, all right, you don't have to, but I suggest that you come in here and you move your body simulation speed to match the time of day. If you want to take your time of day to 4, take your body simulation to 4. If you want to slow your time of day down to 2, move your body simulation to 2. That affects your food and water intake, okay? You want to make sure those are the same. If you don't, you may cause yourself some issues and wondering why you cannot process your food the way you should be. All right. Kill box diffuse. All right, so you can hover over these, and if you leave your mouse, you'll get the box, and you can kind of look at it and see. That's I'm kind of blowing through some of these because some of them are self-explanatory. All right, and then we're back to base building. Now, custom zones. This is where you can set up certain things. On my server, the B.D.O.L server, I have set up PvP zones. I have set up radiation zones. And in those zones, you can do certain things that you can't do outside of those zones. Okay? And this is where you do that. So your outpost regions are here. So if you click on A0, if you look at it, it kind of flashes. Okay? If you click on up here, they all flash. All right? If you want to do something, you need to do it up here to change it. All right? Your global configuration is up here. So back on the other screen when I was talking about sentries, if you want those on but you don't want them to hurt you, okay, you can come to your global configuration and you can block that. That means that unless you're in a vehicle or they step on you, what I'm saying is don't try to kill them with a sword because it won't work. And I know that firsthand. Yeah, mistakes were made. All right. If you get into an airplane at the airfield and try to take off, they can shoot and kill you. All right, they can shoot your car and kill you. This is only for them shooting you as a person running across the airfield. They will still shoot, okay? The EMPs won't bother you. They're stun grenades. Your screen will still go white. You will still get stunned for a moment, okay? It only blocks the physical damage from a bullet or their railgun. All right, you can block that. Even though I have suicide puppets off, I still block them, all right? You can block puppet damage. You can do a lot of things in here, okay? Vehicle damage, all the way down. This is one that kind of has, we're going to go to Outpost because I think that's beating a dead horse, but this is one that has kind of confused people since they put it in here. Typically, people have used the traders as safe zones. Okay, they don't really want to build a base. They just want to leave a chest at a safe zone or an outpost, maybe all 4 of them when they buy or they need to reload or drop some stuff off or whatever, and then they just come back and get it later, okay? When this setting first came out, people were complaining because their chests were despawning. So if you go to your outpost and you scroll down and you have all the same things, so you can, and most of these are blocked. These are default, okay? If you scroll down, there's a lot of things you can't do. Now, if you notice when you go into an outpost that says that you can't park there 2 hours, whatever, whatever. If you want to change that, you can scroll down to the bottom of your outpost in vehicle parking, and you can allow that. Okay, that means that you can leave your car there for as long as you like, and it does not matter what that 2 hour rule is. All right, chest parking, that's where it's at. If you want to be able to drop a chest in a zone that typically does not allow, that's how you allow it. Right? You just click the allow button, and it does whatever it allows you to do. Now, if you hit ignore, it says the event is ignored by the zone, and the next zone under it is queried. If no zone remains, the global configuration determines the result, which means there's nothing under outpost. Okay? For an example, fall damage. Under global configuration, fall damage is blocked, but we can allow that, which means if you want to jump off of a building, you're going to hurt your leg. Okay? By it being ignored, if this is allowed, outposts are ignored, that means that the global configuration will take effect, and it will hurt you if you jump and fall if it's set up that way. All right, now there's a particular order in which you must set things up if you wish to create a zone. So we're going to, for an example, make B3 a PvP zone. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click configurations, make sure I'm on zone 1. We are going to rename PvP. We are going to color it blue. Okay. We are going to allow everything. All right. So you take, basically what I'm saying is if you come in this zone, you are taking your chances, and you can lose your base, you can be hurt, you can do everything. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click a rectangle. I'm going to choose a corner that I wish to start at. And I'm going to do that. Okay, and I'm going to apply. And it says settings successfully. Now, it did not change the color for me. That's odd. All right. Now, it also put it down here in my region as a custom region 1. All right. That is now a PvP zone. I don't know why it didn't change color. I probably did something weird. Huh. Anyway, I got it to work on my other one. Sometimes you got to play around. Anyway, that is now, everything in here is allowed. Okay. Everything in here is allowed. You can build a base. You can have your base destroyed. You can put down traps. You can everything. You can die in here. Now, if you notice, I click sentries. Now there's no sentries in this zone. I don't think there's a bunker in there that I would worry about. But just to ensure that there's no conflict in suicide puppets and sentry damage is blocked. Okay. We will apply those settings. Now, everything that is allowed can happen inside this zone. It's a free-for-all. All right, let's say you come back and you're like, you know what? I messed up, and I don't want that zone. So we're here. Come to the red X. Click it. Apply the settings. And now that it's gone. All right. Click onto here because it's still in the custom region. All right. You got to click onto that and you remove the region. You can exit out. Boom. It's gone. There is back to reset. All right. Always apply to ensure that it takes. But you can set your map up any way you like. If you want Z4 to have certain things that other regions don't, you can set up, there's what, 25 here. You can have each one have a different theme to it if you like. Okay. If you leave your sentries on and you only want them to have the ability to damage you in B2 but not D4, Turn them on here, turn them off there. You can do whatever you want. All right. Now, for those of you who stuck around, we have a little thing as a server manager. And if you're a single player, you are a server manager. You can spawn things in. That's how a lot of people do. And I'm sure some of you already know. If you hit the T button for talking, that brings up your talk menu. Okay. If you hashtag and hit S, all right, it starts to put a bunch of things in there. If you go to SP, arrow down, you can spawn items. All right, now if you don't know how to tell what the item is, then you can simply just stop there and then you can arrow down. Okay. You have to get close to what it is for it to tell you. And things like backpacks, you don't know what color they are. They're just there. All right. There is another thing that you can download for your game. It is called Admin Helper. Scum Admin Helper. You download it. It's free. You won't get all the options on it, but you will get most of the options. Okay. And let's see here. I will bring it up on my screen. It'll be a second here. It's got to load in. All right. Let me get it loaded in. It's going to pop up on my right. I have 3 screens here, so it's going to pop up and I'm going to drag it over. We do a few things here. And all right. This is what it looks like right here. All right. You can use this to teleport anywhere on the map that you like. All right. There is a teleport section in the talk section over here. If you hashtag teleport, you can teleport anywhere you like. Okay. You have to have the coordinates in which you want to go to, or you can teleport to a vehicle. All right. I find it easier to use this. I use this a lot with my multiplayer to get around sometimes. When I was doing my Series 2 with my POIs, I would teleport to POIs. If you want to spawn close-in items in, you can go to this section here. You can find anything you want. Okay. Guns. You can use guns, cars. You can, whatever you like, all the Christmas presents. On my server, I have not Patreon, but donated to this company. This is a company out of Europe, I believe. And I can spawn in certain packages. So I have a starter pack. All right. I can't see what's in it. We have a can right here. So your starter pack, when you come into my server, if you so choose, and you ask for it, it's free. You can get 5,000 in cash, bandages. You can see what you get right here. Okay. I have viable packs. The archery pack is a purchasable pack. It costs 10,000 scum bucks. All right, so anything that you see here, everything that you see here is what you get. That is a full kitted compound bow. All right, with a so you basically contact me or my other admin, and you get that. We also have a sword pack. I keep hitting the wrong button. Sorry, folks. So you get 3 of the best swords in the game, some grinding stones, and some bandages. All right. That pack, I have that listed at 20K, and the med pack is listed at 30K. And the adrenaline shot needs to come out because it doesn't do anything for you. That's a future thing, I think. But so you know, this is what you get: 3 tourniquets and some alcohol, pills, bandages, and all that added up is more than 30 grand. So it's there if people want it. It's not if it's not. It is, you know. But your hashtag, if you want to do that, that'll get you things too. I find the admin helper to be easier to use than sometimes than that, because you can, if you click onto a weapon, you can do bullets, you can do magazines, you can do sights, you can do suppressors, and it will all spawn at one time for you. So hopefully that cleared up some of the questions that people have on single servers, how to get here, how to navigate it, and I will link my horde testing at the end of the video here for you. So if you want to see the settings a little more in depth on that, you can watch that one. That's kind of about a 45-minute video also. But going through these settings, it takes time, and it takes a lot more time if you don't know. So hopefully this will help you get through faster, set your game up the way that you want it, and hopefully I helped you guys out. I appreciate you all sticking around to the end here. If you've made it this far, leave me a comment in the bottom saying Scum rules. Leave your comment so I know that you got this far. And until next time, folks, keep gaming.